On this programme, I issued a challenge to the councillors of Bangor last week. You might have remembered this, to get in touch, answer questions about the controversial Queen's Parade development. The big question is, how much has the black hole in the town seafront actually cost ratepayers since the project began a decade ago? Well, buying the property and associated costs landed Northdown Council with a bill of £3.7 million. Interest payments took that figure even higher. We were told it added up to about £5 million. A good deal, more than a price of around £4 million paid by the developers. Well, turns out the councillors were advised not to speak to us. No one would talk to us. Now, one of them does want to have his say. You see, we don't leave these stories alone. He claims the final bill could be as much as £10 million. Earlier, this gentleman spoke to Chris.
Well, we're back in Bangor this week for another ice cream and another look at the great entertainment and leisure complex the Northdown Borough Council planned for the residents here in Bangor 10 years ago. As you can see, it's still a demolition site. We have, however, finally got a councillor to speak to us. Austin Lennon, thank you very much for talking to us. The first thing first, it seems like the council didn't even want us to talk to councillors last week. A lot of them seem to have been advised that they shouldn't speak to us.
Advised is a little bit soft. I think a lot of them were told to stay away from you. I think that the problem is that, never mind being told to stay away from you, even if you did get councillors sitting here, nobody knows what's going on. The only person who really knows what's going on is a developer.
But the big question is here is how much interest rates they've actually paid, because they borrowed £3 million to pay for this. Over the last 10 years, the figures we were getting last week were suggesting that's probably costing £5 million in total. In reality, what do you think it's cost?
Oh, I think it's cost considerable more than that. You're not taking into consideration this is a huge area from start to finish here, and you're talking maybe a rate loss coming into the borough of probably £250,000 a year over the last 10 years. And I don't know what the rates, that's what I'm saying about councillors don't know what's going on. I don't know what our interest payments are. I had heard a figure of £10,000 a month, but surely the council should stop hiding behind secret closed doors and let the people know. But I would say your figure's closer to 9 or 10 million. This is going to cost us by the time it's finished.
You reckon this has cost ratepayers £9 or £10 million?
I would say that a conservative figure.
You've got to say, though, they had a plan for Bangor. They had an idea for development, and that's one of the big things. You can't knock the council for that.
Excuse me for saying it, but I actually can, because the council haven't got a clue what Bangor's all about. This is a good example. Excuse me. It's a good example, deck chairs and ice cream. Bangor's not about deck chairs and ice cream anymore. Bangor's a place where people live.
Your big concern here, in terms of the way the council has operated this as well, is the fact that there are no dates here. There's no start date, there's no completion date.
When you don't give people dates to actually complete their work, then things drift. And things have drifted far too far. And one of the problems with not putting a date on it is that there's no timepiece there for the developer to start work. So he can put whatever he wants into the planners, and if the planners turn it down, he can go back and bite it until he gets what he wants. What the council failed to do, we didn't bring in a planning consultant to actually look at what these plans were like, but the council backed the plans. And so now we are behind the developer for backing these plans, which are overblown.
Of course, the developer here has done nothing wrong. You know, he's just a good businessman, or a series of good businessmen here, really. The issue really is what has the council done here? I mean, have they been stupid?
They've been naive, they've been foolish. They're not developers, but that's not an excuse. If you're not a developer, if you're not a planner, you bring in people who know what they're talking about.
Of course, this whole land, which we see behind us here, this can just be left like that for years potentially to come. Somebody's got to carry the can for that, surely, within the council.
Yeah, but this is local government. Nobody ever carries the can in local government.
In your opinion, who should carry the can?
I think that the councillors need to get good advice. And I actually think that we haven't been given the good advice that we need to have. And I think our officers should have advised the councillors better. And I think that who carry the blame, I think the town clerk has a lot of responsibility in this, because he should have advised us better on the whole situation.
Well, we did invite Trevor Polly, he's Northdown's town clerk and chief executive, onto this programme. We invited him last week, we invited him this evening again. He's declined our offer both times. Northdown Council said they would simply stick to a statement they gave us last week, in which they said very real progress is now being made. Could someone show me, please, maybe it's just me, where is the very real progress? They still won't reveal how much money they've actually spent on the project once you include the interest rates. Could it be, for example, £10 million? There is an open invitation to you, Mr. Pauly. I'm talking to you tonight. We're on air next Wednesday night. The BBC's in the centre of Belfast. We start at 10:40, and maybe you would like to speak to some of the residents of Bangor who are asking reasonable questions. Now, it's probably the biggest show and tell.